Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to sunny Manchester. Oh, we're pressing the wrong button. Is it not? Anyway, I'll just keep talking. So my name is Jennie Williams and I'm from Titan, which is the North West Regional Organised Crime Unit, and we are seconded to police officers and police staff from the 6th North West Forces. I need to put that down, it's getting on my nerves. And I work on the cybercrime team. So Titan as a whole just deals with the more serious and organised crime that happens throughout the North West. We've got the same set up in each of the other regions throughout the UK. Some of my colleagues from the other regions are here, so if you've got any more questions and I'm not around, I'll point them out and you can go and target them later on. And if you're not from the North West, I can obviously point you in the direction. So I'm from the cybercrime team, and my role is about educating businesses and members of the public on all the free government advice that's available to help businesses and members of the public stay safe online. We've also got two other teams who we work with. The other team is Prevent team, and they're about working with young people and making sure that they don't fall into the trap of cybercrime and they don't do naughty things online. They're about channeling them in the right direction so that they can be our cybersecurity experts in the future. Is that me? So sorry. And then we've got our third team, which is our Pursue team, and they're about dealing with reports of cybercrime that get given to us. They will go out, do the investigations, arrest offenders, seize computer equipment, do the forensics on computer equipment and take that job right through to court. So they're our geeky gods back in the office. So if you've got some hard questions for me today that I don't know the answer to, then I can always go back and ask them about it. So I'm just going to try and take it back to basics today. I think we go to so many conferences where it's all of it too hard to do and a very high techie level, and people forget about the basics that we can do. Remember when we did all used to have get computers, and it used to take up about 4 desks, didn't it? It was that big, your monitor was huge and you had to have loads of space. And when we had them types of computers, we always did our backups, which was probably onto a floppy disk. We had strong passwords, and we also did our updates when they come through. And people have forgot about these things. It's gone all too techy. And now we all just think of cyber security and anything to do with computers and technology to be too hard to do. And like John just mentioned before about all the different words that we now use to talk and describe about cyber and technology, and it all gets really confusing and complicated. And people don't understand anymore. We see now that people just bury their heads in the sand, don't they? They think it's too hard to do. I can't even remember what doing an update means. I don't know what an antivirus is, so I'm just going to forget all about it. The budget doesn't allow for us to have all these things that we need to protect ourselves, so we're just going to pretend it doesn't happen and I don't need to sort of learn anything about it. Unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. The reality is cybercrime will get worse if we don't take action. It's only going to get worse. It's never ever going to go away. It's something that we all need to learn to deal with. We all need to learn to work with each other, to protect each other. And there's dead simple ways that we can do this by going back to basics. So I'm keep clicking, don't I? Oh no, now I've even messed this up. So I just wanted to move over this side because I felt like I was talking to you guys, so I'm going to move over this side so I can see you a lot more. So we're going back to common sense explanations. We're going back to, we all know that we shouldn't be using USB sticks, that we should turn them off, and that's a simple way that we can protect our computers, that we can protect ourselves, because we don't know where them USB sticks have been. If you've taken them home and your kids have used them and downloaded stuff that maybe they shouldn't, or if your friends and family have used them, or even if you've got someone coming into the office who says, just plug that USB stick in for me and just print this off for me, you don't know where that's been. There's also USB sticks that get left lying around car parks or entrances to businesses, and if it says private and confidential before doing this job, I'd have definitely just picked it up, plugged it into my computer and had a good old nosy at what someone's left on there. Is this really annoying? Is it annoying everyone? Sorry, it's really annoying me. So it's just about going back to these basics and thinking about what you can do to turn off USB sticks, but explaining. Sorry, I'm annoying, aren't I? Sorry. Thank you. Oh yeah, that's much better. So it's just about thinking about how, if you are going to turn USB sticks off in your business, explain to your staff why you have turned them USB sticks off. Don't just turn them off and say, right, that's it, no one's using a USB stick in here anymore, we're trying to make your job dead hard. It's about explaining and saying the reason why is because we don't know where them USB sticks have been, we don't know what's on them. Plugging them into our computers may cause a virus, may cause problems for us, and our business might not be able to recover from them problems. We also see it with very small businesses who grow quite quickly and they don't lock down the folder structures. So you might have your admin department who've got access to your finance department folders. And this is all about making sure that your staff understand why you are saying to them you can't have access to finance anymore, you can't have access to the MD's records or payroll or anything like that. We're not explaining to our staff why these situations are happening and why these changes are being made. You also need to explain to staff that you will be looking about what they're doing on their staff computers. We see it an awful lot where businesses don't have a little nosy round to see what the staff have been doing at a lunchtime, what they've been doing when they're in the office on their own of an evening. And all these things are important to your business, because if someone did go a little bit rogue or started doing things that they shouldn't, you should be aware of this. You should be able to ask your IT department, what is that person doing? I feel like they're not happy in their job, they might be leaving soon. We need to check and protect ourselves that they're not going to take any information with them that maybe they shouldn't. But all this needs to be explained to your staff to say, this is why we're doing it, we're protecting ourselves. If we get hit with something, if we get malicious software in our systems and we can't recover from that, or we have to pay for things, you might be out of a job anyway. This is why we are doing it, to protect each other. So the biggest threat to the UK and to businesses is still from phishing and ransomware. And I'm sure you all are aware of what phishing is and what ransomware is. But we're seeing this happen time and time again where businesses are getting hit with ransomware. There was only a company in Manchester a couple of weeks ago that we dealt with, and they got hit by ransomware for £75,000 was their ransom. They did have backups, so they thought they were quite safe and they could restore from that. Unfortunately, the malicious software had got into their backups because it wasn't disconnected from their systems, and they had to pay the ransom, which is a lot of money. And businesses don't, and staff who click on these types of things don't really understand the implications of doing so, because you click on a ransomware email, a lot of staff think, do you know what, I might even get a few days out the office, I might not have to do any work for a few days. Realistically, their job is on the line if you can't recover from something like this, if you do get malicious software in your systems. And this is the types of things you need to explain to your staff, that this risk isn't just about them having a couple of hours off work or not having to come in. The risk is they're going to lose their jobs. So there's loads and loads of really good advice from the government that helps you do this. Like going back to writing policies and procedures, obviously you've probably got even more when I meant with GDPR, even, I know I shouldn't mention that swear word, sorry. But we know that people write pages and pages of procedures, and who reads them? Really, who reads them? No one has time, no one can be bothered. By page 3, everyone's like falling asleep. But why can't we write a summary of that procedure, of that policy, that's an easy to refresh guide for your staff? Things like this will help them understand the threat, will help them understand what they are responsible for in the office. It's going back to these types of basics. We have so many IT people who we work with who are just specialists in their own areas and forget about the basics, forget about you do need to educate your staff, because this threat isn't going to go away and we need to make them aware. So CyberAware is a really good resource for businesses to use. They have their main messages, what they're using is, if you do have a strong password and you do your updates, then the majority of cybercrime will be prevented. So it's something as very simple as that. And I know there's probably a lot of people in the audience that think, well, do you know what, that is a little bit too simple and we can do something a bit better. But to just try and get people to understand that if they do that and make these changes, then the majority of cybercrime will be prevented from doing that. So they've got a toolkit, CyberAware, that you can print out posters and leaflets and resources that you can print out, hand round to your staff. You can put your logos on them. but it's there ready for you to use, ready to start educating your staff, and there's loads of really good advice on there. The Cyber Information Sharing Partnership, is anyone here on this platform? Yeah? Oh, God. It's a really good platform for businesses to share any threats that they're seeing across their networks. So if you've got, if you come in and your website has been DDoSed, or you've been hit with ransomware, or you've seen an unusual phishing email, you can post all this information onto the platform to help other businesses protect themselves from them threats. So it's totally free, it's government funded but industry led, and you can join different sectors, groups who are of interest to you. The more we put into the platform, the more we can get out of it. So we really do encourage you to share on there. The NCSC also monitor what people are posting on there, so they can release guidance and advice that way. When the are you giving me a card? When the BA breach hit last week, people were on there talking about it, offering advice and guidance, giving things like chatting about what do you think happened and trying to suss out what it was. So if you are very techy and that's something that interests you, this is the perfect place for you to go. I've left leaflets on all of the seats except them ones down there. Sorry, I didn't have enough, so you might have to pinch them off some of these. But there's information about how to sign up, and if you haven't got a leaflet and you want one, give me a tweet and I'll send you one over. So the Cyber Essentials scheme is another really good scheme that you could join to protect your business. Again, saying that swear word of GDPR, this will really help with regards to this. It works on 5 technical controls and explains how you should protect your business. These are government technical controls, so this is what the government are saying. If you have these minimum standards in place, then you will be protected and have done as much as what the government's asking you to do. So that's something really good to have a little look at. You can download the questionnaire for free and work towards it at your own time, but there is a cost implication of around £300 for that to be actually registered. But we do really recommend that if you have any of your supply chain or anyone you outsource to, you check that they are Cyber Essentials accredited, because then you know the information that they hold on you is a lot more secure. So the NCSC, the National Cyber Security Centre, they are an offshoot of GCHQ, and they've got so much really good advice and guidance for you as well. They've done a booklet around small business guides for cyber security, and many of you might not be small businesses in here, but we really do recommend you have a little look at that guide, because there's probably, again, hints and tips in there that you've not done in your own business that might just give you a steer. It's all about trying to get you to be able to do a lot of these steps for free, and then pay for the ones that you can't necessarily do. Because I think a lot of people do sort of pay for everything and think that they are secure, but this is about making sure you are secure, testing your systems. Going back to ransomware and backups, we've seen an awful lot of companies who have had backups that have been done by a third party. That third party, when there has been a ransomware incident, they've gone back and said, can you just recover all our data for us? You've been doing backups. When they've checked, they haven't actually been doing backups. So it's really important to test your systems and test for things that you are paying for. Just by a simple test of your backups is just delete a file. Next week, say, can you get that file back for me, and see if they can do it, and then at least you know that you are secure. So they've got loads of infographics as well that are available. Again, you can just print them off and give them to your staff, put them around your buildings. They're all there, they're all really good, especially the NCSC glossaries that give an abbreviation of everything, of every single term that you'll probably hear today, and probably half of them you'll think, oh, I don't know what that means. Download the glossary and you'll be able to find out. So if something does go wrong, it's not actually your local police force or your phone, it's Action Fraud. They are the National Cyber and Fraud Reporting Centre. You can do this in a number of ways. You can phone them or you can report it online. We know that a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, if only I had a phishing email, or there's nothing, I've not lost any money, I just know that something a little bit strange has happened, but I'm not bothered about it. You reporting that to Action Fraud might be the missing piece of a puzzle of an investigation that is happening throughout the UK. So please, we do really encourage you to report online if there is things that you do find suspicious. You can also put this on the CIS platform and also report to Crime Stoppers as well. You can also, if you are having a live cyber breach, so say if you have been hit with ransomware or you've got malicious software in your computer, you've had a DDoS on your website, please make sure that you give them a ring, Action Fraud a ring, and press option 9. You'll be put through to an operator who will escalate that, and that they're on 24/7. We do a monthly newsletter, and if you want to sign up to it, you can do so on our website or give me your card and I'll add you to the list. It's just with the latest advice and guidance that we've been seeing. There's a lot of educational videos that we send out that the Met Police have produced that are really easy guides for you to have a look at. And I don't think we've got time for questions because I've messed around with my mics too long. So thanks very much for listening. I will be around at coffee break if anyone wants to chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.